done a lot of choreography and I continue to do so. Anyway, so as a choreographer, more about what you guys are doing and what you're looking for, I look for several things that I find in my work to be what have made me become accessible as a choreographer and somebody that has continued to work primarily. When I started my life, I remember saying to Brian and I remember saying to other people, Cindy, I'll never forget a conversation I had, that the most important thing in life is to find flow and to understand what flow means in your own life as well as in your choreography. And flow to me as a choreographer is from the beginning to the middle to the end of a program, the key element that connects all of the transitions, the jumps and the spins, that there's a constant fluidity to how one moves, to whether it's a short, quick, fast step sequence, there still has to be flow in it. The way that the turns transition to a toe step, to upper body movement, there's a continuity and a beauty about the way things flow. So flow for me has always been a key element to choreography. The second thing that I look for is an emotional connection to the music and the musicality in which that emotional connection and the steps come together to create a whole performance. I think that in the dance world, meaning something that's outside of the ice skating, Mark Morris, Paul Taylor, American Ballet Theater, you're going to get a little bit more modern interpretations of choreography in terms of taking it outside of storytelling and emotion. Some people are looking for geometry, of shape, of kind of Merce Cunningham was a key example of that, making dance very technical and elemental in its movement and mathematical in its precision. And for me as a choreographer in skating, I want to see the opposite of that. I mean, there's always that element to make beautiful shapes and correct shapes, but at the same time, I want to see an emotional life, and I want to see the storytelling, and I want to see the connection you have to a character, to a place, to theater. I want to see the theater of a piece. I think that's very important. That's what's made me actually, I believe, a success in the show, kind of the Disney on Ice, the Holiday on Ice, is being able to tell a story in an effective and powerful way. And then the third thing, of course, and I think that's obviously incredibly important, is the musicality, is being able to be understanding music. I think you have to study music, and something that I didn't know as much of when I was younger, but to really understand how to count music, how to hear the transitions and the tempo changes in music, how to understand just every different type of genre of music, and to be a studier of music. And I did in college. I took jazz classes of music, I took classical music, I sang, I took singing classes, I took dance classes, I took Broadway dance classes in New York. I studied with, just get the information, take everything that you can, take in from every person that comes along in your life, which leads me to Brian Wright, who came into my life in 1994 through Audrey, actually, as a friend, and Brian was at a peak in his career and had done a million different things in his life, from theater to dance with the Joffrey Ballet, to a chorus line, to the wonderful work he did with so many skaters at the time. And I had such an admiration and respect for Brian, and now I'll cry. That will miss him, but Brian, I asked Brian at one point in my life, I said, Brian, what do you need to do to become a choreographer? And Brian said, you need to be present, and you need to be available, and you need to make yourself seen at every possible skating event, introduce yourself to people, talk to people, and tell people that you want to do what you're doing. Don't wait for something to happen. You have to make it happen. And Brian taught me that. And one thing that I'll never ever forget from Brian, which I think is probably one of the most important sentiments to have in life, is we saw Rent right when it opened in New York, and Brian and a group of friends were in my apartment in New York City, and we had 500 Seasons of Love, which has the line 525,600 minutes. How do you solve, how do you define a life? How do you define a minute? How do you define what you do? And you define it by love. And we sat there and we sang that song and we held hands and we just were singing at the top of our lungs. And that's what you have to do, anything in life, as a choreographer, as a person, is to define it by the love that you give and the passion that you give and the life that you give to the work. And so whatever you do as a choreographer, do it with your heart and your soul, and it will be good. So thank you.